I'm Kyle Strunk, a white belt under Elias Cepeda. Although I've submitted Michael a couple times, and he's almost a purple belt. So
I'm Michael Richardson. I'm a blue belt under Jared Jessup.
This is going to be our first podcast for Club Jiu-Jitsu. We're going to be talking about, what are we talking about? How Club Jiu-Jitsu started and what it is.
Where it's going.
Where it's going.
Or we'd like to see it go.
Yeah, I think that's hard to predict.
And what it's not.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's a good one, what it's not. It is not a Gracie who might have cult. There's no Gracies on the wall that we're bowing to. That is what it's not. We've tried to make it no gi, but that hasn't happened. We've been training gi a lot lately.
You can't just ignore the gi. You can't. As much as some might like to ignore the gi and complain about it every time we put it on.
It hurts my fingers. My fingers are always good until I start doing the gi. It's my white belt grips, I'm sure. So I guess how it got started is just trying to get extra training time. With my work schedule, it was just hard to get off to come to the gym. So we started just training in the yard, training on mats, dealing with bugs. Bug spray didn't really work out well.
Sounds so nasty.
Yeah, it was terrible actually looking back on it. But I was a white belt pretty much getting private lessons from somebody that was pretty good because he'd just come over and hang out. So
beat you guys up, heel hook you?
Yeah, he taught us heel hooks immediately. He would actually like teach us stuff to piss other people off at the gym, and we were so new we didn't know. So we were like, we're brand new white belts, heel hooking people, and then they're like, or I remember he taught me a half guard pass. There was like a really hard crossface to it, and like I'd get off the mat and I'm like, that guy seemed pissy. He's like, yeah, you just crossface the shit out of him. And it's like, well, that's what you taught me to do, you know? And so, yeah.
He was making little minions to send out there and
fuck
with people.
Yeah, and I had no idea. It's like I'm pissing people off. So he actually took us to Chicago, to his home gym. And one of the guys pulls me aside and he's like, hey, he's trying to get you beat up. I'm like, yeah, I've come to pick up on that. Yeah. Like,
he's not my friend.
Stuff to piss people off. Yeah. So now I got started just wanting to get extra mat time and training out in the yard, and then just trying to get to get out of the yard. I saw some shipping containers on the side of the road, so I was like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna buy a shipping container so we can train in it, get out of the yard." And they were too expensive. They were like $5,500. I thought they were like $1,500, $2,000. So then I was like, "Well, we could probably get a shed for." As much as a shipping container would cost, but then there was like this metal shed was like $18,000. And I was just like, we could build something for that. So that's what we did. We built this pole barn. Had a friend build it, and then me and some friends finished it out, which was a nightmare to do because I know nothing about construction. And, work sucked in too. So I'm getting off at 8 o'clock at night, coming in here, working in my UPS uniform until midnight, trying to get this thing done. That went from like September of, was it 2023 or 2024? 2020.
I think it's 23.
Yeah, so we finished in 24 of January. So that's kind of how I got started. Just wanted extra mat time, and then people started coming. I'd post about it on social media and talk to people, and people started coming out training.
I remember meeting you at 413, and it was probably right before that you had it all set up, I think.
Yeah. That was probably a year before, probably 8 months or a year before.
Okay. And I remember we trained at Tristan's together, and then not too long after that, you invited me out here.
Yeah.
And I came out, and I remember it had like a nightclub effect to it at first, and there was like black lights.
Not my idea. Not my idea. That is not Club Jiu-Jitsu. Again, it's not there's no Gracie stuff going on here, and there's no more bar stuff going on here.
It was fog and black lights. And
it's terrible.
I think there's still a picture somewhere of us training together in the fog and the night light.
Yeah. We'd do Saturday nights. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a good time.
yeah. There'd be more people outside drinking around the fire than would be in here training. I remember there was nights there was like 20, 25 people, but it was like hanging out around a bonfire drinking, and we're just in here training.
4 of you guys, 5 again.
Yeah,
The other 20 are
yeah,
hitting the bottle,
yeah,
trying to get him to come in here and puke after rolling with you.
yeah. Well, that's something that we had talked about doing is like having tournaments and making the upper belts take, you know, your belt rank determined how many shots you would have to take. So as a white belt, I wouldn't have to take anything, but upper belts, black belt, they'd have to take more. Kind of
stripes included.
stripes included, yeah.
Stripe in that belt is
Yeah.
shot.
Trying to figure out a way to handicap them, make it fair.
That sounds awful.
30 stripes.
When you're a little bit inebriated, you don't want to tap as easily.
God, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
I try not to train after I've been drinking. It's a bad idea.
It gets you in the flow state, is what Hickson Gracie says. Yeah. No, I made that up.
Are you sure that's what he says? I don't think that's what he says.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it got started.
It's kind of interesting to see where it's went in a year, though. I mean, just from last January, whenever you first invited me, to where we're at now, doing classes 3-4 days a week. We got black belt Elias that's come down from Chicago and helped us. Roger stepping in and doing training and coaching with us. Just naturally growing like wildfire from just
it's been a cool process because it just started off like wanted to get some extra mat time and wanted to get out of the weather, so built this place and just started training. And then I started buying like instructionals, and we put the big, what is it, a 55 or 65 inch flat screen up. But we put the flat screen up and just started watching instructionals. And so we'd just do open mats, watch instructionals, and train and try to learn that way for a while. And it's really taken shape. I know you and Donovan started helping a lot because it's like you guys come out here and it's a bunch of white belts not knowing what's going on. I guess you guys felt a responsibility to like, these guys are going to hurt themselves. We probably should.
Well, they're trying to heel hook each other and shit. Like, this is not good. Someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Someone needs to put something out here to help clear the fog.
And Roger was out.
Legitimately clear the fog.
Because Roger was here in the beginning, but then he got hurt. He had a grappling match in Ohio that he got hurt at. Well, I think he was probably hurt going into it.
He just trains hurt all the time.
Yeah, he doesn't accept injury. He thinks that he can placebo affect his way out of being injured. I mean, he comes in here with blood down his bicep and or bruising down his bicep and pec, and he's like, "It's not torn though." What do you mean it's not torn? Like, where's the blood come from? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Well, if it's torn, I couldn't do this. Yeah. So, but he was out at that time, so he must have really been hurt. So he was out for a while. So, yeah, we had no direction. Then Elias started coming out and training some, and kind of asked me what my goals were, and I was like, man, I guess to find goals. I don't know. We're just watching instructionals and training. And then he started volunteering at least a night a week, and sometimes he's out here more than that too. And he's been really good too. I text him questions because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a white belt. I never intended for this to become what it is. So I'm constantly bothering him with questions about different things. But he's been really great, answering questions and providing direction to our training. And
I think there's a lot of black belts out there with an annoying white belt asking him a lot of questions. So.
He does it for free though.
Yeah, that's
most of the times it's like $200 for a lesson, and you get to do that. Elias, he just does it for free.
Very giving.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
I'm favorite white belt questions.
Yeah.
We need a black belt to answer them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of how I felt whenever you said something about Don and I showing up. It's like you see a bunch of white belts out there and just blind leading the blind, and you're like, hold on, let me help out what little I know, because I'm not too far ahead in the journey, but I can at least show what I do know.
That's how me and Michael met. We were rolling, and he hit me with a scissor sweep, And I think sometimes to rub it in, he teaches it quite a bit here now. Like that's what we went over last night was a scissor sweep, and then he demonstrates on me, and I think yeah, I think that's what he does. I think that's what he
This
does.
is how I met you.
Yeah,
Does this feel familiar?
yeah. Somebody I didn't know just walked up, slapped hands, and then I ended up on my back.
I remember. How'd you do that?
Yeah,
That was the first question that you asked me.
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Yeah.
Let me show you. Let me show you.
And I hit it on Ben last night, so it was worth getting scissor sweep those years ago because now I know it.
For sure.
You get beat up, and then you learn how you got beat up, and then you can do that to other people.
That's the golden question. How did you do that?
Right.
Like that's like, you know what I'm saying? Training isn't that complicated. It's that simple. How did you do that?
Yep.
Show me. And then that's just what it is the essence of it.
Maybe a tell on Michael at that time, and probably still to this day. I looked to try to find the big, strong dude in the room and see if I could take him because he's got size on me. So I saw Kyle, and I was like, "Let's see if I can sweep this guy."
Yeah, he slapped me. Yeah, I was bigger back then too. I'm like 225 now. I was 240 because I was just like lifting all the time. You know, training has just ruined my body. It's ruined my body. I've lost weight. I've lost muscle. My joints hurt all the time. It's probably because I overtrain, but yeah, it is what it is. It's fun. It's hard not to train, especially when this is in your backyard, you know?
It's really hard not to train. It's hard not to show up when you're hurt. It's hard not to show. Like I've been nursing a knee injury for months now, and I've still been here.
Yeah,
it's hard, and it's hard to sit and just watch when you can't. You know, but you still want to get out there. You love it too much. Once you fall in love with it, it's just too much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy because, like, I thought I was gonna go learn self defense, and I was like, I thought that was something I could do in like a month, and then I would know how to fight, and then I could take care of myself, and I would go back to my regular life. And I realized that is not the case. This is like infinite, and there's so much, and there's levels to it, obviously. And I got hooked and just obsessed with it. And it's cool to see like other people that happen to other people now, because you know some people they'll come in and train, and then you don't see them again, or they come in every once in a while. But then and you can never predict who it is. But then there's that one person that walks through the door, and then they're just here like every day, and then they're just like texting you jujitsu stuff all the time and wanting to talk about it. It's like I never got out of that stage. Yeah. You see that happen, and I think I've been trying to think about like because I've done a lot of things. Um, you know, I played football growing up, and I went to school. I went for religion, got a master's degree, did all that, and I got really into. I mean, I still read a lot of that stuff and participate in some of that stuff. But I got into ultra running, powerlifting, like bodybuilding type stuff, motorcycles, traveling, um, and it's all been fun. But I've often tried to think about like what makes jujitsu different from those things because this just this has been a bigger obsession, I guess. And I've ran 75 miles. You got to be pretty obsessed with running to run 75 miles, you know. But this has kind of surpassed that stuff. And I really think it's the community aspect of it, you know, because when I'm out there ultra running and like running trails, I'm generally by myself. Or when I'm lifting, I'm generally by myself. But with this, it's like I'm just hanging out with all my friends. And Eli, we talked with the Midwest Fighter channel. And I remember talking to him, and he said, you know, when you're running, you can still be thinking about other things. When you're working out in the gym, you can still be thinking about other things. But when you're fighting or you're grappling, that's all you can think about. And I really think that it's like a way to be mindful and like bring you into the present. Because the first time I trained, I remember training for like 2 hours. I never checked social media. I never checked my phone. I didn't think about anything else. I was completely drawn in.
Submerged. Fully.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like I don't participate in life. I spectate. Like I see everybody else living, and I almost have this bird's eye view of like the world, and I'm not really part of it. Trying to work through that with my therapist right now. But jujitsu brings me in, makes me a participant in life, you know?
Fully committed to the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not many things that do that. My motorcycle does it in the mountains.
if you notice the similarities there is you don't pay attention to your motorcycle, you could die.
Right.
You don't pay attention in here, your arm could get broken.
Right.
You could go to sleep. So it's like you have to be fully invested or you're just going to keep getting tapped and then you're going to get discouraged. And if you really want, if you're driving a competitive person, you're fully submerged into it.
Yeah.
You want to win. And I think most of us are competitive enough to not want to get beat up on the mat.
Mm-hmm.
Now maybe those are the what you said earlier, but the guy.
I have no hope. I have no hope of ever getting to a point I don't get beat up on the mat. I've given up on that. Actually, like I remember when I was like doing ultra running and lifting. You know, I'm 240 pounds, run 75 miles, and I could still pull like 500 pounds and squat over 400 pounds and bench press over 300 pounds for reps. And sometimes I just like think to myself like, I'm a freak. That all went away when I started training jiu-jitsu. Like, I'm a child that can't defend myself. There's so many people that could just, yeah, I've given up hope of ever not getting beat up. I've just accepted it. Last competition I did in Memphis, like people were like wanting to talk to me about my game plan. I was like, dude, I don't have a game plan. Like, what do you mean? There's a whole nother human that's you know,
I don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah, he can make his own decisions. It's like I just need to know stuff from everywhere because if he takes me down, I need to know how to play some guard and look for a sweep or submission from there. You know, if I want the takedown, I'm not going to pull guard, but you know, I need to know some takedowns. If he gets on my back, I need to know how to escape. If I get on his back, I need like I have a game plan. I mean, maybe it's just a white belt talking, and maybe I should be smarter. And yeah, I should have a game plan. But I'll have a game plan. I'm just, you know, it's like I don't know. It's unpredictable, and so I just want to try to like learn stuff from all the different positions.
It's an old philosophy called mushin, or being of no mind, and that's like being trained to know what to do when they do something, but not trying to push out your mindset. Like you said, I don't know what he's going to do, but just being prepared for when he does, I react responsibly.
This is another reason that I'll always be terrible at jiu-jitsu is my processing speed. It's not good. So, you know, it's like people want to talk about like when you get this look from them, you react this way. And it's like, well, my reaction time is so slow because my processing speed is just not that great. So, and drilling, I guess, will help eventually.
You think that your body gets aware of it before your mind does? What other people would call feel, right?
Man,
you can just tell without having to have the conversation with yourself. You're just like, I just knew to do that. I didn't talk to myself about it. It was just the sense of where he decided to go, and I'm not even talking to myself like that.
Not for me.
It's just
probably other people, but not for me. But because the thing with jiu-jitsu to me, it's like none of it feels right. Like when I'm learning something, I'm like, this doesn't feel right. This would never work, but it does. And my instincts are always wrong. I don't think my instincts are ever right. Like that's been really crazy to me too. It's just such an awkward art for me to learn. I don't know. And everybody's like flexible and I'm not. I'm like a robot out there. But, you know, we'll see.
Just a really strong robot out there.
But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. You know?
It does a little bit.
I don't know.
I couldn't get out of your side control last night, so
you're just so regimented.
I wasn't trying to submit you though. I was like, I'm just not letting him go.
Yeah, I felt that. What this motherfucker's not gonna let me go.
Yeah.
You could outlast. You're so regimented, unable to do anything else. You're just like you'll outlast everybody, staying in that one thing. You don't give up. Like this don't feel right. I'm gonna try something else. And you're just like, nope, this is gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'm done. You win.
I remember like guard passing one time. My buddy's like, "Hey man, when you're trying to go the same way the whole time and you're like meeting a wall, like just try to go the other way." And so then like one day we go to an open mat and I like try to do that, and he's just like, "Dude, you're like the Titanic trying to change directions in your guard passing." Yeah. Kind of thinking about like what is club jiu-jitsu. Michael's phone's going off, distracting me. I turned mine off.
Oh, it's gotta be mine then, huh?
But yeah, thinking about like what club jiu-jitsu is, like that's the cool part about it. It's just like you said before, it's a neutral place. People from all different gyms come. People that don't have gyms, you know, they've made this their home gym. And, you know, with Elias giving us some oversight, that's worked out, and that's been good. And he's really helped out with that. But yeah, it is just kind of like a neutral place. And um, I hate hierarchy. I don't like authority.
I share
It
that
just,
sentiment.
yeah, it just rubs me the wrong way. I like collective, communal style, egalitarian, that type of thing, where we're not counting the cost, where we're not reduced to, a position in the
A
hierarchical
bottom
ladder.
line.
Yeah, so this is just a place. It's like, man, we just come train. If you know something, show us. You know?
Like ironically, amidst the community that has belts and
Yeah, but we're fighting that back. We're fighting back. We're fighting that back.
Like,
But
I would be okay with the idea of a jiu-jitsu community where there was no belts because you can't argue the knowledge.
right, and that's the
you
thing.
also don't need to highlight it with the color.
That's
it's
the
just
thing.
Clearly,
right.
Do what he says, see if it works. Do what he says, see if that works. One's going to be correct, and it's like I'm just going to go with that knowledge. Once it's in you,
Right.
You're
yeah.
still that
The mats.
I remember
lie.
when I
the mats don't lie.
Right.
They don't. And I remember
the
when I started, and because I just I trained at Saban's and I trained at Thompson's, which I love training there. I still like training there when I can get over there, but I just wasn't able to because of work. And then like so many people started coming here, I just needed to be here.
Yeah.
And I remember guys be like, "Well, you're not going to get promoted," and I'm like, "I don't care. I'm trying to beat people up. I don't care about a belt. Like I just want to learn this and get good at it and hang out with my friends. Like I don't care about that." And this place is really taking that on because it's like, you come along, you start showing stuff you come along, you start showing stuff that you know. And like Michael said, it's just everybody contributes.
That's what it is to me. It's like the club. Like, I'm looking at the logo of the sign. It's like Club Jiu-Jitsu. It's like it's the social belonging to those who just exist in the practice of it. Like, It's not. I mean, you have it where it's like it is this place, but it's not limited to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It is just like you belong to the community. It's
Right.
It's the camaraderie that exists and the practicing of it all, and you feel free to speak about stuff in one respect of like you don't feel like you're shut down. Can I ask a question, Sensei? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't feel stupid. You can just discuss it.
Right.
It's like a structure in a good way, but like a structured environment for like enthusiasts or just like the hobby. You know what I'm saying? Like to where it's like we're all watching stuff online anyways. We're all discussing this with each other out of just pure passion and interest, right? And then to have a physical expression of this that's beyond just your iPhone. Like, and it's like, no, this is kind of what it is. But that's not to say it's the gym of Instagram techniques either. It's just that way where you can get involved.
I've had to get on to Colton for that. Stop watching those Instagram reels. And like,
you can tell.
Yeah. Talk to Elias. Learn some fundamental stuff. Like, quit doing that.
Yeah.
So stupid.
But but those things. But to have that like to where you're being constructed or instructed or shut down on the basis of knowledge of the thing, not the aroma of who the person is.
Right. Yeah. It's not built around a person. It's built around like a community. It's built around what we're doing. And like you said, the mats don't lie. It's like if you know something that works, show it. If you don't know what you're talking about, it'll be found out.
Yeah.
And man, it's been pretty good with stuff like that. People been willing to give what they know. And we've had so many people teach: Drew, Elias, Roger, Jordan, Michael, Donovan. Tattoo Matt,
Eli,
Sonny, Eli. And I'm sure there's people that I'm missing. And it's
a collective of people.
Yeah, it's a collective of people. And then I see it all the time. Like when I'm in here training, maybe a new person will be here, and I'll see Michael off to the side showing him something, or Donovan off to the side showing him something, or Roger showing him something. Like it's just really cool. What's that? There's a scripture in Acts. I can't think of it. I think chapter 2, like 42.
Yeah, all things in common.
Yeah, and they distributed it to any that had need or has need, and that's kind of how it is here.
Yeah,
we got it's all this common knowledge. If I have a piece of knowledge and someone's in need, I give them that.
I always look at it like a trail. We're all on a trail. If you know that the berries that look red coming around the corner are actually poisonous and they're not edible, you should tell whoever else is behind you on that trail. But at this point, you're going to be hungry. Don't eat the red berry bush. Like,
right.
I was like, this is going to scream up terribly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's every little ounce of knowledge pertaining to the trail matters when you're on that trail. It's to make everybody up to speed, is to catch everybody well rounded and even in that
Yeah.
respect. You know what I'm saying? So that you can all develop as you should.
Growth for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the rain doesn't withhold some of its drops on other crops.
Right.
That's
You know what I
more
mean?
than just the areas on the mat. If you look at, well, it's still the mat, but looking at Elias and Roger and how they teach, and it's something for me to learn how to teach and be better at teaching. So, just in the articulation of the art, I'm learning how to be better at that, which is different than just practicing. If you've ever done this and then tried to teach it, you're just, sometimes it comes out like,
I remember my first time trying to show an armbar. I know how to do the armbar. And I went to show the armbar, and Michael's rolling with somebody. And he's like, hey, Kyle, how about instead of 18 details, you break that down a little bit?
Well, it's cool.
Like, yeah, that's kind of hard.
Let's say you have a good orator or articulating person in the room or whatever. Have the person with like the flawless technique demonstrate it, and then just have the other guy break it down for him because he knows what's taking place. There's a way you're sharing both strengths.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, okay.
I wouldn't be the guy to show it, though. I'd just be out of that picture. But there was no one else around to help, so I had to.
I mean, it's a journey for all of us. That was probably the way I sounded like the first 100 times I tried to show somebody something.
Yeah.
All analytics and deep into it, and they're just like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Weight distribution? What do you mean?
A lot of people, it's like, you go to a school, and they're like showing these submissions and stuff. And I remember when I started, it's like, dude, I can't even get past this guy's legs, much less, I don't even know the submission. I just need to know, like, how do I even get on top position? How do I hold this dude there? How do I get past this guard? Like, it's just, everybody wants to learn the submissions. And it's like, you can learn them all, but you're never going to get there to do it unless you know some other things, But yeah, back to kind of what Club Jiu-Jitsu is. I honestly really don't even know what Club Jiu-Jitsu is. It's a collective, for sure. It's communal. It's egalitarian. It's all of us. It's not one person.
I like to think of it as a movement. And what I mean by that is that, like, we're trying to affect the people around us in a positive way and using martial arts as the car to get there.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest way to do it. Now, we're doing things outside of that with the food drive and the clothing drive and stuff like that, but that's also affecting our community in a positive way.
Right, yeah.
It's just a part of it.
Yeah.
It's just a stop in that car ride.
I wanted to learn martial arts to defend myself and to defend those I care about and take care of those I care about. And, that's not just the physical combat of it. That's, hey, man, so-and-so in the community doesn't have food. We can get them food. There's some homeless veterans that they're taking up some stuff for. To me, though, man, it's like on these social issues, it's frustrating to me that we live in a system that these social issues even exist, because we have the means of production to meet these needs. It's our distribution which is the problem, i.e. capitalism. Won't hang out on that a whole lot today. But I've always struggled with, like, because I went to school for religion. I went to seminary, and I've always wanted to help people and do good. And when I was involved in church, the thing that frustrated me is I was like, these are Band-Aids. Like, just giving people, doing this clothing drive, it's just, that's just a Band-Aid for right now. It's not fixing the problem. And so I got discouraged and kind of quit doing stuff like that. And then then we started doing Club Jiu-Jitsu. And I still had a heart to help people, and I didn't know what to do. So I just did the things that were right in front of us. And that is the clothing drives. It is the hygiene drives. It's different things like that we've done. And trying to learn as we go how we can better serve the community. But what kind of changed my view on doing good in the community in those ways was reading Revolutionary Suicide by Huey P. Newton. Huey P. Newton was a co-founder of the Black Panthers. And they did some really great stuff. They did breakfast programs for the kids in the community where they fed them. They did bus rides. They gave people legal counsel for free. They bought groceries for people in the community and food distribution and stuff like that. And I started reading his book, and he said too that the social structure needed to change. But while we're waiting on the social structure to change, we got to help people. It's like they're drowning in a river right now. And these programs, although they're not changing the system, they're getting people out of the river. You know, somebody's drowning in a river and you throw a life raft out there and get them in the life raft. Like the mission's not over, but at least they're not drowning anymore. And that's kind of how I look at some of the stuff that we've started to do here. You know, somebody needs some clothes, we'll get them some clothes.
And who
Somebody needs
knows,
some
maybe
groceries,
you
we'll get
throwing
them.
them the life raft gets them on the mission too.
Yeah.
It gets them out of the river, and they're a part of the mission now.
Mm-hmm.
They want to help reciprocate that back to somebody.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it lets people know that, like, maybe somebody does care. And that's the thing, too. Like, Club Jiu-Jitsu, making it a community, I know what it's like to feel like you don't belong or feel isolated, you know, and I don't want people to feel that way. So providing a place where it's like you said earlier, it's something you belong to. You said something along those lines, like you're part of it. And like that's what I want it to be. I want people to know they can come here.
All inclusive.
All inclusive. No matter and no matter what's going on with them outside those doors, like we care about them. You know.
There's a lyric in the song that says, "Life isn't tragic. Love is just being ignored."
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it's neat because it's like I picture the singer saying it to somebody who has this tragic view of life. Like it's not tragic. It's the fact that everyone's ignoring what love is.
Yeah.
And it's what it brings that condition that registers you as tragedy. So stop ignoring love. Love somebody. You know what I mean? And then it changes the scenario. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
It really does in principle.
And I think that we're always waiting on someone else to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, the government will take care of it, or the church will take care of it, and it's like, man, I'm just gonna like try to be the highest human I can be and help those around me. Like I don't like sure I want the system to change. I have no faith that it's going to change, but I would love to see it change where we don't have homeless people. You know, where we don't have people that are starving, people that are unemployed, people without health care. I want to see all that stuff. But until then, whatever I can do to do that, and that's part of loving, because you know, it was Thomas Aquinas defined love as, he said, love is to will the good of the other. So it's not just some like everybody talks about love, but there's no concrete thing of it. Like, yeah, loving is you see somebody hungry, you give them food because you're willing their good, you want their good. It's being there for your teammate when you know he has a competition coming up and you show up to help him train. You know, you and Elias texted me yesterday. He's like, hey, I'm going to be there to get some rolls in with you because he knows I've got this competition coming up. Ben showing up, you showing up to do stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that changed everything for me when I started seeing love is to will the good of the other.
Because when you can depend on each other, right? I can depend on you as a companion, whatever. It takes the dependency off, because a person has to depend on something. They'll lay it somewhere, right? It's like everyone has this anchor that's just in them that they have to throw somewhere, otherwise they just toss everywhere. So they will throw it somewhere. So if I can depend on you because you got my interest in mind and I got whatever, then it takes a person out of the dependency of the system.
Yeah.
Because if it's the system that's ruining people, no matter when anything gets into a system, because even like the examples of the church things, like when church goes into a system, it's lost what it's supposed to be. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so then you can't speak of it as a whole, but you can speak of that form of it as going like that has become a system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In that respect, right? So then it's like, but if I can depend on you out of love, and it's pure love, like again, not vaguely stated words of affirmation, not just positivity for positivity's sake, but actual concern like that, like stuff that doesn't seem like sunshine and rainbows, but consideration of your investment.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I know you got this coming up, so I'm gonna help you do that. It's what I did with the logo. It's like, I know you got a thing that you invested, put your hands to, you built a freaking building. This means something to you. And it's like, if I can help you with any of that, here's a logo to just put on your thing. Like, whatever, the videos, all of it, right? It's like, that's just me considering the ways that I'm equipped to consider. Like, and that is me showing love, and it's like, okay, we don't ever get teary-eyed and stare at each other. It's just like, man, you're just the best. We haven't had the.
There's a lot of I appreciate you texts, you know.
We haven't had the Molly experience.
Yeah.
We already talked to you for an hour.
Yeah.
You're amazing. You know? No, but point is, part like I don't wait for the system to change. Am I ignorant that it's there? No, I know it's there. But if I can disassociate with it, I'm free of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can help others disassociate with it, they're free of it. It
Well,
still looms in the background, but I don't have them. It doesn't have us anymore because we're able to like. You can depend on me, man.
You know,
not the other
like
thing.
Going back to Huey Newton and the Black Panthers. I mean, that was their thing. It's like, you know, who are they going to count on in their communities? They couldn't go to the police. The police were the ones giving them problems and using violence against them. And, you know, they didn't have the government to back them up. They didn't have the court system, the judges. They didn't have anything like that going on. So they were like, you know what? We have to take care of one another. Like the system's not going to do it for us.
No,
So
that is a principle. I mean, along with what you're saying in Acts, but there's another spot where it says, consider one another like more important than yourself. Like that's the whole posture. Like the fact that's being instructed to people. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, to live life with the revelation of God. Like you have to consider one another more valuable and more important. You know, and it's like, now if I'm doing that with you and you're reciprocating that, nobody's being neglected.
Right. And
you understand what I'm saying? Like nobody's going thanks. Meanwhile, you either stay in the shadows.
Right.
It's like, and likewise, like what is it that you're needing in life? Like let me help you if we can. Like connect you with whatever resource that you might actually need. Like it's that very place that we are unfamiliar with, but willing to go.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it just like anything, it requires practice, exercising that out. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This stuff's good.
And having a community, a context to do that within. You know
and
what?
I'd rather you do that. I'd rather all of us do that purely, like with good cheer. You know what I'm saying? Versus the disgruntledness,
right?
Of crap, because it's like God, you could have got to the same finish line if you would have just done it with like hope and or whatever, right? Versus like being salty towards the shadow figure that like you don't even hang out with anymore. Like it's like why do you know what I'm saying? It's like do it in the proactive way, like really do it with some joy and make it attractive in that way.
Yeah, and that's something that I think has happened pretty organically here. Is when I look around the mats, I'm seeing Michael taking time away from his training to help somebody that's new, or Elias driving over from Carbondale multiple times a week, or Roger coming out here, and I mean Roger's been hurt for how long now, and he shows up every day just to coach, just to help us, just because he knows that we've got these competitions coming up and we got to be ready for them. I mean, that guy. He's the first person I ever trained with 2 years ago, Roger, and a big intimidating dude with his head
the
tattoos.
Viking grappler.
Yeah, but he's like, I mean, he's become one of my best friends, and been in my corner and just been a very selfless person, and helping. He was helping me long before Club Jiu-Jitsu. He's really where I learned a lot of my jiu-jitsu and my longest training partner. So. And yeah, you just see it organically, man, with the crew that we have out here. You just see people giving, investing in others. And I have a tendency to be kind of a dark, cynical person. It's hard to be that here. It's hard. Sometimes I see humanity in a very negative light and like just self-centered light. But this challenges that because I see people coming out here. It's like, I don't charge any memberships, mostly because like, I don't want there to be a barrier to training. And I mean, I'm a white belt. What am I going to tell anybody? But now that we do have people here with knowledge teaching, it's still like people just give, they'll donate. They're giving money. They're giving their time. They're giving the things that they have.
They're reciprocated with something from it.
Yeah.
They're getting something out of being here. And I think the biggest part of not having that membership at the startup is that like there's no paywall that stops them from getting in. I've been training for 4 years and I've asked probably 5,000 people if they want to try jiu-jitsu. And the first question I'm always asked is, how much does it cost? When it's free, it just costs your time. It's a lot more encouraging to get in the door. And then once they see what they're reciprocated with and the energy that comes in, like you said, the community, people wanting to see you grow, like how do you say no to that unless you just don't want to grow as a person or grow, get in better physical shape? Like you have to, like you said, even a dark, cynical person can come here and find trouble being dark and cynical.
Yeah.
Because it's such a positive thing.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, it's a huge support system. It really is, the community of it. I go on and on about it, but it's just blown my mind to see and to be a part of. Really, it's been very encouraging. So yeah, what Club Jiu-Jitsu is, man, it's like, who knows, man?
A collective of grapplers trying to benefit their community and themselves around them.
Yeah, yeah, and that shows up in different ways. It expresses itself, and it's like, there's stuff going on here all the time that I never pictured would be happening. That is now happening.
I try to remind you often that it started with you building a show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just doing it. Yeah, I guess that's about all I have on that. What else?
Where are we gonna be in a year?
Where are we gonna be in a year? I can't answer that. I'm not gonna answer that.
I want to see some world champion medals, but that's me being overzealous.
I gotta not be bad at jiu-jitsu first.
Well, I hope they all get worse.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully they get complacent. They can pass them like a tortoise in the hair.
I'd like to see us grow to where we
have bathrooms.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
That's a step.
Yeah. I mean, we got the tree line out there, and that's been working. But if county ever comes out here, I don't think that's going to hold up.
Might be discouraging some females to train, but
yeah, we don't. I mean, if you're too good to use a tree line, like, you don't need to be here. Yeah, like we don't need that.
We all did. Like, when did you get all sophisticated?
That's right. You can go to one of these in-town gyms. Yeah. No, man, where we're going to be in a year, teaching jiu-jitsu to people in the community, providing an environment for people to build relationships and belong. Hitting up, the funnest thing for the competitions for me is not the competition. It's being there, man. It's like, we know, like for Memphis, and then we know we got this one coming up. It's like, we're going to Indianapolis. We're going to take off on Friday. All going to hang out together, find somewhere to eat. We're going to talk in the car ride. We're going to hang out at the Airbnb. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's the funnest part of it.
It's the only way to get to know people.
It is.
Like, try to get to know people through everything, but I don't get to know. I mean, this sounds like I'm undermining all of what we just said. I'm not, because I agree with Doug's meaning. Like, I can only get to know your jiu-jitsu during jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's all. You react one way or not. Okay, this dude has a temper now. He lost. What, you know what I'm saying? You find that little bit out. You can find some things.
He's talking about you, by the
way. What?
You're talking about him. The temper where he loses.
Every time he loses to the white belt.
Yeah. Twice so far.
No.
Somebody's keeping track.
But, no, like, you can find out something. I'm not speaking.
For sure.
Cool
Yeah.
takeaway.
Yeah. Anybody, some, like, what do we got going on the horizons? We got Indianapolis coming up.
Yeah.
Chicago Open.
Chicago Open. I think there's a Fuji. There's an ADCC
Paducah in May.
We're going to do an in-house tournament at some point. I've been talking about it forever, but we are going to do it and try to do a big payout on it. Make it look, have a little fun. Yeah.
You got merch that you can get access to through Breakpoint FC for rash guards and hoodies and shorts and bags and all kinds of other good things.
Club Jiu-Jitsu, Midwest Fighter, the Oakham stuff.
Yeah, you got. Because you got the other merch too. All that. There's what else here? Yeah, you're trying to expand on bathrooms.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't be afraid to make donations. Give you a place to bathroom.
Right. Yeah. You get the bathroom going, but yeah.
Come be a part of the growth.
Yeah, be a part of the growth. Come be a part of it. Like, that's it. We don't know. We don't have this thing figured out. We're all just pitching in, given what we know. It's just a process, man. We're just all along for the ride. So anybody that wants to come train at the club and be a part of that, like, we don't got to figure it out. We'll figure it out together. As far as jiu-jitsu training, what we're doing in the community, meeting social needs, just trying to make the world a better place, really, man.
Whether you know it or not, there's a place for you to grow here and help here.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a communal thing. Is everybody has a strength that they can bring in. They probably don't know it till they've been here a while, or that they find it here, and they also have something that everybody has a chance to grow here.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
It's stuff that you're doing is affecting other stuff. Because like I'll say it out loud because I know what I'm staring at, so I can tell, whatever when other people are doing it. But ever since you guys started making decisions, being willing to go down certain routes and to, logo up, whatever, to logo up, start getting merch, putting out content, whether to start with photos and then videos and travel things. Like I'm watching local gyms within our proximity get inspired by those same things and then doing it their way. And if they don't have to give credit, it's not even a thing. I'm just speaking it out because I know what it is. So it's like they probably will never give credit, but if you were to actually open up their brain, they'll be directly linked to like seeing it actually bloom here and them going, that is a good idea, and taking that inspiration and doing it in their own sectors that way. So already, even just to that degree, like decisions that have collectively been allowed to come through and be established here have been affecting other communities and different things, because it helps legitimize their place, which then helps people trust them as well, and it just strengthens the thing too. And, some people who are arrogant may not want to, ever tip their hat to acknowledge it that way, but it also allows them to, like, break down any barriers of hostility because, like, deep down they know, like, you helped me out. Like, it was you who did certain things, who allowed it to exist, and we did our way of that, like, off of that, and it's benefited us. So it's like it breaks down, like, this distance, because, like, yeah, you helped me when you didn't realize.
Yeah, and it's such a small community of us, man. Like it would like it's just such a small community.
I don't think there's a martial arts school in the area, or there's very few that haven't had a student here.
No, that's true.
It's affected just about everybody in the community.
Well, I mean, and they've all those gyms have contributed here because it's like it's their knowledge. Yeah. They've provided a space for this way before Club Jiu-Jitsu was ever even here. Before Jiu-Jitsu is getting more popular now, but these guys around here were already doing it before it was even popular.
It's the world where the jock and the nerd have a baby.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate resolve. It's like there is no more.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious because like I'll be driving and I'll get a text from Donovan and I'll look and it'll be like 4 notebook pages filled up and he's like, I'm working on a triangle system. And it's like, Donovan, we can't just go in there and do that. Like he's got it all written out, like he's writing an essay. Yes. And but then it's like for the next month, it's like I'm getting triangled like 4 times around.
From every different position.
But then I don't have to make those notes, and then I get to start playing that game too because he is. But anybody that's willing to come and train and get beat up and beat people up and like, a lot of people after work they're going home drinking their cocktail and watching TV and like we're just out here beating each other up, and it's like if you are that type of person, I like you. Yeah. No matter what your skill level is, I like you. You're willing to get out and do something like that. Like
escape your comfort zone and be uncomfortable for a little bit.
Yeah. So anyways, I guess we can start wrapping it up, but
4 minutes, right?
Cool. Yeah, we can wrap it up from here.